y'all, I'm Hope here at Crafty Hope, and welcome to my channel and this video, which is going to be the week for Seek, Gather, Create, like my contribution to it. So let me tell you about what Seek, Gather, Create is. That's a challenge that comes from 4 artists. I will have their Instagram links below because the majority of the challenge takes place there. It's a mixed media scavenger hunt challenge that they do about, twice a year. Usually this is the winter version, and I think I heard Lisa say they're going to do it again summertime, but late summer, like August or something, I think. So the 4 artists are Lisa, Tina, Laura, and Melanie. And like I said, I'll have their links below. They do 4 weeks. Each week has 4 prompts, and you seek and gather those items and create with them. Super fun. I always end up with, well, most of the time end up with something I really love from this challenge. So even though the 100-day project is going on right now, I'm still making time to do these weekly things. Just, yeah. So this is the last week of the challenge for this winter edition for 2024. There are prizes and things like that, so definitely go check out the hostesses or the Seek, Gather, Create Instagram account. So let me tell you what the prompts are, what I've gathered, and let's get to it. So week 4 prompts are abstract florals, the color green, something that fastens, and an insect. Y'all, I'm struggling. As soon as I saw these, I was like, oh, I know what I'm going to get. I know what I'm going to gather. No problem. But what I'm going to make, I have no idea. I might switch out any of these and then have to go back down the list and go, did I do all of that? So abstract florals, you can see here I have some napkins and some tissues that have abstract florals on them. I'm considering them abstract because they are not like realistic, I suppose. They're not photographs or actual florals. So this napkin, I will have to, with napkins, you always take the backing paper off to make them a little more transparent. This one already has that. So here's this one as well. I don't know if I'm going to use this one. I'm not super keen on the colors, but I liked it because it has both the flowers and the insects on it. It's got butterflies. So, where did my little list go? Okay. And then there's this tissue paper, and I love the florals on this one. So I might combine these two, but I'm not sure yet. Like I said, this one I just pulled out. It might get used if I decide I want one of these butterflies. I don't know. We'll see. The color green, this was really the only thing that I pulled out was this acrylic ink from Amsterdam in olive green light. I love this color. But, you know, I can bring green in any number of ways. I've also pulled out this green, which is like a mossy green. It's some Martha Stewart paint. I don't even know. The actual bottle broke on me, so I put it in this like travel shampoo bottle. So we'll see how green gets brought in. Something that fastens. My immediate thought was buttons. They are one of my favorite things in the world. I don't know why. I have a massive collection of them, so I've just got a couple buttons out to share with you. But also something that fastens, I thought of zippers. So sewing notions, y'all. I'm sure there are other types of fasteners. I thought of snaps was actually the first thing I thought of, but I can't quite wrap my head around how to do that. But I might go get a card with some snaps on it and somehow stick that in. I've done hooks and loops and all kinds of stuff. But I also grabbed these zippers. I don't know that I'm going to use them, but I first grabbed this one because I liked the rusty color of it. But then I found I had a green one, and that kind of goes with the something green as well. So we'll see. We'll see if they get used or not. And then the last thing is an insect. Immediately I thought butterflies, easy, done. That's an insect. So I have these, which are all from the Tim Holtz Field Notes collection. Oh, this too is a dragonfly I found in that set as well. So those are all insects, but I could easily do, I think bees are insects. There's some of this stuff I think has beetles on it. Yeah, so ants are, you know, but that's kind of, I was like, an image of an insect, but butterfly is kind of my go-to. So that's what I've gathered. I have thought, I have done like assemblages for the past 3 projects. I will link some of those up there. You can find them. But for this one with the tissue and these materials, I just am not feeling super assemblagey, like shadow box assemblage like I usually do. What I was feeling was some kind of either art journal page or canvas. So I thought, oh, a small canvas would work. So initially I pulled out this little 4x4 one. My problem is because this is so thick, if I want to sew those buttons on from the back, I don't really have enough room to do that except in the very center, which is not really my jam. So I will save this one for another time. I did find that I had this Arteza canvas in my collection, and this, I think it was, I don't have many Arteza products, so I'm pretty sure this was in my Advent, the art Advent calendar I had from them when I was doing my Christmas, my vlogging, vlogmas this Christmas. So I think I'm going to use it. So my battery's starting to die, so I'm going to switch that out and get started on this. And yeah, come along with me.
I will admit I do not know why this took so long. So yeah, this video was like, gosh, almost an hour and a half long. So I have whittled it down. I've sped some things up. I've done everything I can. It really shouldn't be that complicated, but I really had a good time playing with some of these different elements. So I hope you'll stick with me to the end to see all the little different things I do. So for some reason, the first thing I decided to do is go ahead and tear off that backing paper from that napkin. I used 2 little pieces of washi tape to kind of peel them apart. And, yeah, that's just the easiest thing. I didn't want to try to fiddle with it too much. So I got it apart and I'm looking at it to see like how much of that I need. And then I'm looking at it with the tissue paper to see how the colors match. And the colors were just, I don't know, there's too much purple in that napkin and too much peach in the tissue paper that I won't be using the tissue paper. So I'm looking at it for a while. I'm going to put it aside and go ahead and paint this canvas. So I'm using that Martha Stewart paint. Y'all, again, I don't know what the name of it is anymore. But I put some of it, you can see, just kind of randomly on there, along with some of the acrylic ink. I wanted, you know, an effect where it wasn't all one color. It does okay. I'll add some more to this in a little bit, but I'm going to paint the front of this along with all of the sides. That way when it's hanging, the sides look finished. Y'all, after I finished this, as I was like going through some more of my stash, I found so many other things that really could have been in this. Things like cicada bodies and dragonfly bodies, like actual ones or cicada shells, things that I've saved that could have absolutely been in an assemblage that I don't know why I didn't think of those things. I also realized that something that fastens could be a clasp for jewelry. I mean, y'all, I'm a jewelry maker. Why didn't I think of a clasp? So, you know, if you're going to play with this project, know that there are tons of ways to go with it. So I decided to add a little more texture of the green in here. I put a little bit of Twisted Citron Distress crayon on, as well as a Marabou art crayon in Apple, I think was the color. And I'm going to grab, because both of those are water soluble and I do love my water soluble stuff, I'm going to activate it just a little bit. I don't think any of this is going to show through in the end because I'll end up using some fluid medium that'll also move this around. But for me, got my hands busy, got me started on this. So that has all been activated and I'm going to try it again before I move on to collaging. But before I collage, I decided to throw on some washi tape. So I've got this one that has some abstract florals on it. It was the whole reason I picked it out. You can see I have sped this up so much, like 4 times usual speed, because really for some reason I agonized over like the placement of this washi tape, and it's not even going to matter in the end. But I had this image of some of it coming out from edges and sides and all of that, and making sure I got it on the sides and the edges. So yeah, and tearing some of it down. So because I don't like the straight lined edges, so I'm trying to keep as many of those off. And you can see I'm kind of working toward the left side of this because I had in my head the idea that I was going to put the napkin down on the right side. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. So, because washi, is only slightly tacky and could peel up, I'm going ahead and sealing over the top of these with my fluid matte medium. And then I'm going to start using the same thing to collage some various papers down. And I find it really funny that a couple of the papers are, I've got 2 booklets there, and both of them were something that I was sent by one of the hostesses, by Lisa Goddard. We did an exchange. Oh my gosh, it's been a few years now, y'all. But as I was pulling out materials and thinking about my Not Precious project and using things that I've made too precious, I was like, you know what, I'm going to use some of these things from Lisa. So yeah, I did that. I'm pretty, proud of myself, I suppose, for, not leaving it precious. And yeah, so I'm going around again, making sure I get around on some of those edges so that they're not blank, and that helps. Now this is book, it's a little cookbook or something, y'all, and it's one of the things Lisa sent me. So, and the paper in it is divine. It's super thin and absolutely yummy. So I'm just working my way. I don't plan on covering every single section of this canvas. I want to keep some of that green visible. I do like how the green came out. You can see like darker and lighter splotches in there, and yeah, I thought that was great. So I had to make myself stop here at some point. And yeah, so you can see I've still got most of my washi kind of down the middle and on the left side. Somehow in a minute when I dry this, it gets flipped, I think. Is this where? Yeah, I flipped it, and I didn't even realize. So I decided I really wanted to add some bold blackness on here, and I recently brought some rub-ins in on something I was working on. What was it? I was working on some jewelry, and I had put rub-ins on it, and I found this one from the Dollar Tree with these numbers on it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I really love these. I'm going to put these in something. So I was like, you know what? This is the perfect time. So I'm cutting them down individually before I peel the front pieces off, and I'm going to use a bone folder, but you can use the back of your scissors or a popsicle stick or whatever. Some of them come with little tools that you can use to rub on. So, and again, I'm making sure it goes over the edges, but in there my canvas get flipped. So here later, I don't know, down the ways in a few minutes, I'm going to realize that all of this was upside down from how I wanted it to be, and it'll be too late to really do anything. So I will roll with it when that happens. Now there I brought in that other canvas that I had because I needed, that's the only problem with working on a canvas is they have so much give to them. So I found by putting that other little canvas behind it, I could have put a book or something else that was fairly sturdy just to give myself a surface to rub onto. So, and this one I had a little problem at the bottom of the 4 where I could not get that piece to stick. But I was like, you know what? It's okay. The 4 is not important. So I'm going to put down a couple more of these. I think maybe this one. And then I'll come back here in a minute. I can't remember if my battery died. I've been having problems with my battery here lately. They've not been living up to it for a while. So I've got some new ones coming in, and we'll see. So I decided to go ahead and tear down this napkin. And y'all, this is a step I always forget. I will often try with tissue paper and napkins. They tear, so you can make an exact tear if you will just wet them with water and then pull them apart there. I don't know why it takes me so long to remember that sometimes, but it was the perfect way to go about this. So That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm wetting that. Oh, that one has a little line at the bottom I did not like, so I wanted to make sure it came off. So all four sides of this napkin got torn down, and it's almost exactly the right size. Now I'm placing it so that some of the flowers go off that right edge and off the top and off the bottom, so that they don't just like bluntly end. I want them to kind of fade off the sides, because they're not going to be the focal, they are just going to be a background. So here I am putting my napkin down. You see I coated the area that was going to be on with the fluid medium, and this medium does a great job of making that napkin just disappear onto the surface. It just, yeah, so all of that green will show through. A lot of the papers I put in the background, the numbers that I rubbed on, well, some of them, and it's not all going to show up, but a bit of it will. Now somewhere in here is where I start to realize that my washi tape, now see, I'm too busy trying to get it down, it's not here yet. I will realize here in a second that I don't have any washi tape over on this left side. Where is all of my washi tape? Where is the certain collage papers I put down to be showing through that and be put on the, yeah. So I look at it here. Oh, I even take my little thing and flatten it down just to make sure that, that can be seen through. Anything that's kind of hanging off, like I don't want any of that on the back. I'm just tearing it down, and if it fades off into a tear, that's fine by me. So I'm kind of just getting this all down, and here, yeah, futzing, and I look at it, and I'm like, where did I? Well, maybe I don't really. Yeah, somewhere in there, I realized it. Yeah, that my washi tape was gone. It was too late. And yeah, my battery died there again. So yeah, new batteries should be here tomorrow. So, or maybe today, depending on when I get this video out. So I'm putting down a little bit more of the washi tape on the edges, and coming out from different areas, just because in my head I had, once I had those other bits of washi down, I had it in my head they were going to be there. And just as much time and care as I took to put those down, y'all, I cannot believe I did that. Somehow in drying, I turned it the wrong way. So, yeah. So now that those are, I'm getting those, sorry, I should have sped this one up too, the way I sped the other one, but I didn't. So we're going to sit through this, and once I get them all down, I'll grab that matte gel again, and not matte gel, fluid matte medium, and go over the top of these bits of washi again, just to seal them down. Like I said, washi has a tendency to, it's a low tack tape, so it, wants to come unstuck. So I thought sealing them down, yeah, just an extra precaution. And y'all, I really love how some of the collage materials I put down poke through or peek through the like white parts of those flowers. It is just, it makes me so happy. But I felt like this whole thing needed to be lightened up, needed some white. There's no actual white on here. Everything is shades of like browns and off-whites. So I've got my Lucas titanium white paint and a big brush, and I'm just gonna make some marks around on here to bring, to bring some brightness in. So, and I kept it mostly to the left side, and I was like, that's not right. I need some over on the left side too. So I'm gonna just a few marks, trying not to cover up too many of my flowers. And once I get those on there, I feel like they're almost too white. So I grabbed this is a rollerball pen from the Dollar Tree. It's an R2 pen. I think this is a 0.7 millimeter. I like this pen because while the ink is still wet, if you work quickly, you can take a wet paintbrush and kind of get that paint to smear and blur. And I love, love, love that effect. So I'm going around each and every one of these circly blobs that I made in white, and yeah, putting them, excuse me, yeah, going around each one of them and then activating that ink. Just, I don't know. It's something I love. I realize I didn't get off the edges quite enough on those ones that are at the edges. So I went ahead and did that and then moved over to the ones over on the right. Now, the ones on the right are not blurring near as much. Excuse me, y'all. I'm a little froggy. Are not blurring near as much as the ones on the left, mostly because it's on that napkin. So the texture of that is kind of eating up that blurring a bit. So I'm not going to be too futzed about it. This is just an accent, something almost for the eye to rest, but at the same time, just to have that pop of brightness in there. I needed it. So, I'm going to look at that for a minute. I'm pretty happy with that. And I'm going to start thinking about. Oh, wait. I decided, yeah, I needed splatter. Yeah, of course, I needed some white splatter around, put that in some different places. So, I added a little bit of water to that, a little bit of that titanium white, and just threw it around. Now, I will try it to seal it in place. And I don't know, I looked at the butterflies that I had pulled out and decided they were not quite right for the colors that were on this page or this canvas. So I started pulling out some of the other ones from the Tim Holtz what did I say this is? Field Notes set. And you can see I'm pulling out ones that I think really work. I'm going through everything. I even showed that there was a beetle and all kinds of stuff. So I like that more pointy one there, but it's not going to work its way in. It's going to be that other more plain one that ends up coming into here. But I've got my buttons, and I realize that they're the perfect thing to kind of pop the butterfly up from this canvas. I wanted so that it doesn't become too immersed on there. But that also means that those buttons get hidden a bit. So I was like, well, then I'll just get more buttons. So I've got several containers of buttons that are just white ones. So I pulled out the biggest one, or the one that has the biggest buttons in it. And I'm going to play around with these and, yeah, move them around and decide to kind of let them mimic the butterfly's flight from the flowers, if that makes sense. So once I get, and I'm kind of making them like go from bigger to smallest, just it felt right in my head. And I'm going to audition these two different butterflies, playing with them, deciding that this more subtle one worked better. But what if I tried some of these transparent wings, which is another product from Tim Holtz, and see how it did on here? And y'all, again, I wasn't loving the colors of some of them. I mean, I was loving the colors. They were like, that one's got all these blues in it, which I love, but there's not quite enough blue on that napkin to really make me feel like blue is the right choice. Now this one had the green that I really loved because it's the green that's kind of in the background, but there's not, I don't know, it was too big. So I am playing with all of these. Some of them are too big, some are too small. And I finally hit on one that has a little bit of like a rusty brown around the edges of its wings. And I thought, oh, that's really neat. And then I was like, oh, but what if I layered them? And yeah, once I hit on that, I was like, that, I am sold on that. So I'm going to pick up some of the things on my desk, the extra butterflies, all of that. And I am folding that transparent butterfly in half. So it looks like so it lifts up from that paper one. Now I'm going to tie a knot in some gold embroidery thread and stitch these two butterflies together. This gets whew, a little wacky because that transparent butterfly wanted to slide all over. I was having a really hard time getting it. So I'm pre-poking a hole and then going through the back and up. And that stitch was, well, my knot was not big enough. So I have to make another knot in this super delicate thread. My problem with this metallic, I love this metallic embroidery floss, but it frays really easy and it comes off my needle really easy. It's so slippery, so I'm doing what I can to keep it from slipping around. And that, like I said, that transparent butterfly was slipping. Everything was slipping. So I was having a hard time poking my second hole. So I ended up pulling out, a piece of a towel that I could like lay everything on and poke into. And yeah, and then I can do my stitch. Now I'm going to do a second stitch through this butterfly just to extra secure it because that's the only thing holding these two guys together right now. And I'll tell you, I'm going to tie a knot in the back of this, and when I trim it, I think it's the initial knot because I went in through the top, the way that the frayed bits kind of poke up behind this, it looks like the antenna, and I'm hoping you can see that in the pictures I've got. I'm not positive if you can, but if you look close enough, you'll see. And I actually end up gluing them down, so they did that a little bit, and I did that off camera, so I'm sorry, but that's why I'm mentioning it. So I'm going to use just some Aliens tacky glue to tack down these buttons just to secure them in place until I go back with the gold thread and stitch into them as well. That's what I told y'all from the beginning I wanted to do, was stitch these buttons on. So I've got that same thread. I'll end up switching it out later. I don't even know if you'll get to see that. Excuse me. So I'm tying another knot. This one I'm not tying near as big as I did. For some reason it's not having a problem with the canvas. So the ones that have 2 holes in them, I am going through twice. The ones that have 4 holes, I'm just making an X so that it also, it's been gone through twice because it's 2 different lines, if that makes sense. So after I get these 2 that are actually behind the butterfly, I think that's where I run out of that thread, but waste not, want not. So I'm going to tie it off, and then I will put more thread on my needle and do the rest of the butterflies off camera because I believe my battery died again. Very likely. So here's the end. I've got that all replaced. I'm stitching that back again. Tying that off again, trying to make sure I don't let go of that thread. Like I said, it comes off the needle so easy, but I love that stuff. It adds such a great sparkle. All right, and I will trim that. And I'm trying to decide if I just want to use masking tape or something else on the back of that to secure all that down. I may put some Fabri-Tac on it to make sure it's secure. Now, I wanted more gold kind of spread out on this canvas, so I'm going to use some Liquitex bright gold acrylic ink and a fan brush, and I will do some splatters. So in addition to white splatters, we've got gold splatters. And I really love that. It elevates this just a little bit more. I will also, I'm going to get some more. I'm going to wet it down. And I think I'm going to get more gold ink here in just a little bit. We'll see. I know I do at some point because, I decide that the butterfly itself needs some gold on it. So I will use that mint. But first I'm going to try the gold splatters. And they are popping now, and I'm looking at my butterfly, making sure those wings are popping, because I love the way that those transparent wings are popping up. I do decide to ink the edges of the paper butterfly just to get that white edge off the very edges of it. I'm sorry if you can hear my elderly cat meowing in the background. It's her jam lately to just scream. So, don't know. She's fine. She's not in pain or anything like that. She just wants attention. Okay, so I did take a very tiny brush and a some more of that ink, and I'm putting some dots onto the wings of that paper butterfly, just again to add a little sparkle on the butterfly itself. And again, I hope you can see it in the pictures I will show you at the end. Once I get that done, I am going to glue the paper butterfly to those buttons with some E6000. And then is that going to be it? I think that's going to be it, y'all. This was super fun. This is the last week again of Seek, Gather, Create for the winter edition. Excuse me, of 2024. You can definitely find those prompts from the hostesses if you want to go back and play along with any of these. I have had such a good time once again with this, and I want to thank Lisa, Laura, Tina, and Melanie for the opportunity to play along. So I hope you will as well. Oh, I'm going to ink the edges of my canvas just to frame it up a little bit as well. Anyway, all right, guys, that is it from me. I hope you find some inspiration, whether it's in this challenge or elsewhere. If you like this, make sure to give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and I should be back soon with more mixed media art and jewelry. Thanks for watching. Bye.